humans and future AI overlords. Versus. The term versus is a Latin preposition meaning against or in opposition to. It is commonly abbreviated as vs period or v period, and is often used to indicate a conflict or comparison between two entities, individuals, or teams. Versus is frequently employed in legal contexts such as court cases, e.g. plaintiff versus defendant, or in sports competitions, e.g. team A versus team B. It signifies a confrontation or contest between the parties involved where they are pitted against each other in a direct or indirect competition. So versus today is going to be Google Search, traditional Google Search, versus Google Bard, versus Google Search Generative Experience. We're going to look at how they behave. So Google Search. Google Search is the most popular search engine in the world. It uses a variety of factors, including keywords in the user's search query, to return a list of links to websites that are likely to be relevant. Its purpose is to help users find information on the web. Its functionality returns a list of links to websites that match the user's search query. Its limitations are that it can only return information that is already on the web. And then similarities, all three use AI to power their functionality. Google Bard is a conversational AI chatbot that can generate different creative text formats like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, email, letters, etc. It is still under development, but it has the potential to be used for a variety of creative tasks. Its purpose is to engage in creative conversations and generate text. Its functionality can generate different creative text formats like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, email, letters, etc. Limitations can be biased or inaccurate depending on the data it is trained on. And similarities, all three can be accessed through the Google search bar. Search Generative Experience. So the Google Search Generative Experience is a new feature that is being rolled out to Google Search. It uses AI to provide summaries of factual topics, product comparison, shopping pages, generated with the help of new AI. This feature is still under development, but has the potential to make Google Search more informative and helpful. Its purpose is to provide contextually relevant answers to search queries by adding AI-powered snapshots to the search results. Functionality can provide summaries of factual topics, product comparisons, and shopping pages generated with the help of new AI. Limitations can be difficult to understand for some users. Similarities, all three are still under development. Okay, so we have Google Search here on the left, Bard in the middle, and the Google Search Experience here on the right. Now I'm going to ask some basic questions, and I'm just going to put them in each of the tools to see how they respond. All right. So you can see Google is providing some YouTube links and some links to what is your name and your name on Wikipedia. Google Bard is conversational and says, my name is Bard, I'm a large language model, also known as a conversational AI or chatbot trained to be informative and comprehensive. I'm trained on a massive amount of text data, and I'm able to communicate and generate human-like text in response to a wide range of prompts and questions. For example, I can provide summaries of factual topics or create stories. What can I do for you today? And then here in the Google Search Generative Experience, it did the YouTube search. I'm going to click Generate, so it can generate the generative response. So generative AI experimental, information quality may vary. Its response is, what is your name? Is a phrase used to ask someone their name. For example, what is your name? Or what's your name? There's a song called What's Your Name by Leonard Skinner. There's a song called What's Your Name by Super Simple Songs. And then it provides the ask follow-up and some recommendations. So that's interesting. So you can tell that, clearly Bard is meant to have this conversational kind of question. So why don't I go ahead and I'm going to ask another basic question. So Google Search, I'm asking, what day is it today? All right, so Google Search identified Thursday, June 22nd, 2023, provided some links. Bard, looks like it just kind of backed out. I'm going to put the question back in there again and see if it can answer the question. So yeah, today is Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. The time is currently 13:16:28 Pacific Standard Time in Orlando, Florida. Okay, wow, okay, that's great. And then of course, Google Search Generative Experience just gave links with no option. Well, let's actually, there's the converse. Let's click on the converse and see how it has. So what is today? So yeah, identified today is Thursday, June 22nd. So it provided the same information as search. Bard, I mean, they all know the day, which is great because it asked for it. But then Bard even gave the time. So that's very interesting. Let's ask another basic question. All right, so Google identified, Orlando is identifying the weather and the weather patterns. It is very humid and rainy here in Florida right now. It looks like in Bard, it says the weather in Orlando, Florida today is mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain, 40% chance of thunderstorms. The high will be 73 Fahrenheit, the low will be 62 Fahrenheit. There is a 0.1 inch of rain expected, humidity 70%, the wind is blowing from the west at 10 miles per hour. So that's really interesting. So it gave a text-based response. Google Search, provides a wonderful data card, with the temperature, precipitation and wind, and then, kind of the forecast. Bard provided just a text response, but but it's fine. It's, and then when I go to Search Generative Experience, it's like today in Orlando, it's mostly cloudy with a high of 81 and a low of 70. The UV index is 5, which is moderate. There's a low chance of rain. And the temperature feels like 84 due to humidity. The wind is blowing from the south at 9 miles per hour. And then it shows the data card from Google right below that. So it is definitely, it's definitely kind of tying it together, trying to give a conversational response with, a typical, Google search with its knowledge graph information. That's really interesting. So now we're going to ask it another, we're going to ask it, let's see if we can do a math question. And I'm resetting Google Search Generative Experience each time just to give it a... All right, so we go to Bard. So I asked, what is the square root of 16? And what's great is that in Google, and I love that Google does this, it brings up the web-based calculator and it, puts in square root 16 equals 4, it's fantastic. And then of course it's got, people also ask questions and then some links. So Bard, looks like it didn't respond. And this is one thing I've noticed with Bard is that it will just not respond. And then you won't even see your query in there. So, all right, so here we go. Now this is interesting. So Bard is saying the square root of 16 is 4. This is because 4 multiplied by itself is 16. In other words, the square root of 16 is equal to 4. Here's Python code that you can use to calculate the square root, which is very cool. And then, thing I love about Google is the ability to export responses and stuff. And then, but yeah, I like the geekiness of Bard. I just, I'm a fan. Anyway, let's see here. So on Google Search Generative Experience, it provided the calculator just like Google Search. It's basically giving me the Google Search results, with some of the here's, with the generative banner and then the ask a follow-up at the bottom. So very similar there. So now we're going to move on to like a complex question. So I'm going to ask, explain how a car engine works. All right, so in Google, it responds with the engine consists of fixed cylinder and a moving piston. The expanding combustion gases push the piston, which in turn rotates the crankshaft, ultimately though a system of gears and the powertrain. So it's linking to a kind of a high-level explanation. It's got a link to Department of Energy, and then it has people also ask, and then it's typical list of search results, and then there's some YouTube videos on how an engine works. Let's hear. So let's see what Bard says. So Bard, responds, sure, a car engine is an internal combustion engine that converts chemical energy of fuel into mechanical energy. This mechanical energy is used to rotate the wheels of the car, which propels it forward. And then it dives into the basic components of a car engine. It talks about the 4-stroke cycle, about how the engine actually works. And then, it kind of, I think it provides a really excellent overview of it with enough detail, that it's one of those things with Bard. Like I feel like it gives you, like I'm so used to very high level responses from AIs, but I love how Google Bard provides a little bit more background on it, which I think is wonderful, and it did so once again here. Let's see here. So now we're in the Google Search Generative Experience. So it's said, Google's AI has responded with a car engine is a type of internal combustion engine that burns fuel to produce thermal energy, and then uses the energy to do work. The engine consists of a fixed cylinder and a moving piston. The expanding combustion gases push the piston, which in turn rotates the crankshaft. Ultimately, through a system of gears and the powertrain, this motion drives the vehicle. So it provides a great explanation, simpler, more detailed than Google search, less detailed than Bard. So it's kind of like Google Search Generative Experience is giving you a hybrid between traditional Google search and Google Bard that's giving you a little bit more conversational detail. So that's cool. And then of course you can dive deeper into asking follow-up questions, or the recommended, they have the recommendations as well. So let's ask it something, another complex question, but let's ask it something a little bit more thoughtful and see how it responds. Okay, we'll start with Google. So I asked the question, what is the meaning of life? And a ton of sponsored links at the very top, which is interesting. There is a little bit out to the right, a link to meaning of life in Wikipedia. And then, but if you're looking through, there's like 4 sponsored links at the top, but they say they're sponsored, so but there's some links to various, it looks like religious, and some interviews about the question, so that's good. And then it goes to the dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, and then of course you have the people also ask, and then but I mean this is a deep question, so it's kind of interesting. It's referencing articles in the Atlantic, Wikipedia. A very, very deep, even Stanford University. So that's, big think. I think that's excellent psychology today. That is the thing I do love about Googling things, is it gives you a lot of perspectives, a lot of things that you just may not consider when you're searching, which is just, brilliant. So let's take a look here. So Google Bard. So what is the meaning of life? So The meaning of life is a question that has been asked by philosophers and theologians for centuries. There's no one answer that will satisfy everyone, but some possible answers include, and it has a bulleted list of answers. It says, ultimately, the meaning of life is up to each individual to decide. There is no right or wrong answer. And what matters most is that you find something that gives your life meaning. That is so beautiful. I mean, that's one of the things that I really, like makes me really enjoy Google Bard so much, is it feels like a genuine, thoughtful response. I mean, don't get me wrong, Google Bard can give you the, hey, I'm just a large language model response, but it is more rare than some of the other chatbots. So, and then it kind of goes on to providing some additional thoughts on the meaning of life. If you're struggling to find meaning, it has some recommendations. And then it concludes by saying the meaning of life is a journey, not a destination. It is something that we discover along the way. So don't be afraid to explore and try new things. You may just surprise yourself with what you find. You know what? I kind of needed to hear that. It's one of those things, sometimes ideas and concepts and, messages get put right when you need them. And to be honest with you, that is beautiful and got goosebumps. Thank you, Google Bard. Okay, Google Search Generative Experience. So the meaning of life is a constant process of becoming through creating values and meanings. It is a perpetual transcendence, always moving into the future, creating the present. Whoa, okay. Wow. Some say the meaning of life is to realize one's potential and ideals, to evolve or to achieve biological perfections. Others say meaning of life is to seek wisdom and knowledge, to do good or do the right thing. Some say the meaning of life is to experience reality by interacting authentically with the environment and with others, to give something back to the world through creativity and self-expression, and to change our attitude when faced with a situation or circumstances that we cannot change. Some say the meaning of life is to have a sense of coherence, purpose, and significance. Coherence is a sense of comprehensibility in one's life making sense. Purpose is a sense of core goals, aims, and direction in life, and significance is about a sense of life's inherent value and having a life worth living. Wow, that's beautiful too. I mean, that is truly beautiful. So this is where, Google search provided me links to things, which is great resource I need to kind of go look at. Bard provided me a great response, great thoughtful response, and then additional detail behind it. And then Google Search Generative Experience provided a really beautiful response, once again, kind of in the middle. And then, of course, there's links to a lot of the things that Google Search had below that as well. So, that is one thing I do love about Google Search Generative Experience. They talk about how it stays in sync with search and Bard as well. So, while there is clearly shared content in this, there's also, I think, unique perspective. Thoughtful, unique perspective. The difference between Bard and Google and the Search Generative Experience is kind of example there. So now I'm going to ask it another complex question, and this is going to be more on our topic. And this is what are the pros and cons of artificial intelligence? So let's see what they have, what their thoughts are. I'm going to set this here. Okay, all right. So jump over to Google Search, and it provided a couple sponsored links, and then it links to, so it's saying there's a link to a pros and cons of artificial intelligence, insights from AI experts. So this looks like, this looks really cool. Interesting article on this I think would be really beneficial. It's got some people who ask, people also ask pros and cons, which is good. So it's giving you sponsored links. It's giving you, a really relevant blog post. It's giving you people also ask, and then it's giving you links to dive deeper into this question. So interesting. So let's see what Bard has to say. So Bard responds, artificial intelligence is a rapidly developing field with the potential to revolutionize many aspects of our lives. However, there are potential risks associated with AI. Here's some of the pros and cons. So, it gives me some bullet points for pros, some bullet points for cons. And these are some of the traditional, the improved efficiency and productivity, new insights and discoveries, personalized experience, and improved decision making. All pros. Cons: job loss, bias, security risk, loss of control. These fall in line with what it has identified historically. So Bard is like sticking to its response. Let's see what Search Generative Experience has to say. So it responds with, here's some pros and cons. It's got some bullet points for pros, increased efficiency, error-free processing, 24/7 availability, reduces human error, helps in repetitive jobs, provides digital assistance, identifies patterns, identifies better human workflows, excels at working with large sets of data. Cons: it gives a long list of cons about the cost, job loss, impact, emotional impact, lack of emotion, creativity, increased unemployment, data privacy, AI bias. So a lot of the traditional pros and cons here, a little bit more detailed, and then some responses to dive deeper into the cons or into the pros for artificial intelligence. And then it's got links to it looks like some good sites, some learning sites, some business sites. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's an interesting question. It's something that we're all grappling with right now. It's something that that I want to dive deeper into, but it's interesting seeing how the AIs represent this in their tools itself. So I'm going to ask another complex question, and this time I'm going to shift to us. What is the future of humanity? And let's see how it responds. All right, so Google Search, there's 4 sponsored links, and then a link to a Philosophy Now issue, Scientific American. It looks like some YouTube videos on the future of humanity. Wikipedia links, Pew Research Center. So, and it is referencing, artificial intelligence. It's definitely got the context of everything. Let's see here. In Bard, so what is the future of humanity? Its response is, the future of humanity is uncertain, but there are a number of potential scenarios that could play out. Some of the most likely scenarios include a continuation of the current trajectory, a major technological breakthrough, like artificial general intelligence, which is interesting that it's referencing that. Collapse of civilization, due to, issues around climate, war, pandemic, all things we're struggling with. Ultimately, the future of humanity is up to us. Is it up to the AIs or is it up to us humans? I mean, it really is up to us, but the choice we make today will shape the world of tomorrow. If we make wise choices, we can create a future where humanity thrives. However, if we make poor choices, we could face a bleak future. I mean, that's just obvious. And it's one of those things like, I mean, as we've dealt with so many issues, so many of these like really hard issues as a planet, countries, different cultures, I mean, it definitely feels like it's leaning in a direction it I don't feel as optimistic, which I feel bad about because I want to be optimistic. There's a part of me that just reaches for that, but there's just a part of me that just feels so wrapped up in so much negativity in the world today and just lack of progress on issues. So anyway, so here's some specific things we can do to shape the future of humanity in a positive way. That's great. I mean, I love that focus. So invest in education and research, protect the environment, promote peace and cooperation, be responsible with technology. So the future of humanity is in our hands. Let's make sure that we choose wisely. Excellent advice. I mean, I feel like it's really on point. Let's go to the Search Generative Experience. It's saying the future of humanity is everything that will ever happen to any human being, including what you'll have for breakfast next Thursday. and all the scientific discoveries that will be made next year. Some predict that by 2023, humanity will have found new ways to work together for altruistic needs. This could include increased collaboration between governments, businesses, and NGOs in order to address global issues such as poverty, inequality, and climate change. Others predict that humanity may develop a sustainable civilization in outer space. They reveal the developments in robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology may allow us to terraform and build habitable cities on Mars and beyond. Still others predict that humans might want stronger immune systems, stronger muscles, better vision and hearing, better brains, even bodies that can age more slowly. Any or all of these technological developments could replace natural selection as a major force in human evolution. At the most wildly optimistic estimate, our species will last perhaps another billion years, but end when the expanding envelope of the sun swells outward and heats the planet to a Venus-like state. Well, okay, so short, but pointedly addressing the issues, and being very a combination of optimistic and questioning. So I find that that's the thing about these AIs, is that when you have friends that just give you the sunny side of everything, it's hard to it's great in the at the moment, but sometimes it's hard to get like real feedback, to feel like you're diving into real responses, and that's the thing I do like about these AIs, is I feel like they're not sugarcoating things, they're giving you legitimate possibilities, and so I find it interesting, and I'm really curious to see where AI is going to provide us more. So anyway, but in the search generative experience, it provides some responses, and then it goes into links. A lot of the links, it looks like, are very similar to what was in Google Search, which is great. So anyway, but that was now let's shift into like more of a creative conversation. So let's see here. I'm going to say, why don't we have it do something like write a poem about a cat. I'm a dog person. I love dogs, but this isn't, let's give the cat some attention. Let's see here. So I'm just going to say, write me a poem about a cat. All right. So in Google Search, it provided me links to cat poems for kids. Great cat poems not written by cats. 10 classical poems about cats everyone should read. So, some great links, some links to images. People also ask, and then links to, it looks like some poetry websites. So that's great. So, hey, if you were into cat poetry, this is a great question. All right, let's go to Bard. So Bard wrote a poem. Says, sure, here's a poem about a cat, and it's just called The Cat. A creature of mystery, aloof and yet so dear, a friend who will never judge you no matter what you fear. With fur of softest white or black as night's own cloak, a tail that switches back and forth, a paw that never fails to stroke. With eyes that see the world in ways we can't know, a heart that beats with love for all who let it show. A cat is a gift from the universe above, a creature to be cherished and loved until the end of time. Wow, I tell you, that's pretty awesome. I love the creativity of these AIs. Let's see what Search Generative Experience said. So its response in the generative section is, the cat is an independent sort. She likes to do her own thing. She doesn't like to be told what to do, and she doesn't like to be held. She's very curious and she loves to explore. She'll go anywhere and everywhere. She's always up for a game, and she loves to chase her tail. She's very affectionate. She loves to cuddle. She'll purr and rub against you. She's a great listener, and she's always there for you. She's the best friend a person can have. So if you're looking for a pet who's independent and fun and who will always be there for you, then get a cat. Interesting. So I guess that's a poem. I mean, but it's I guess, and then it's got the images like Google Search does, and then it's got links to literary links and information there. So, yep, this is where Search Generative Experience, once again, is kind of a hybrid, providing links, providing images, providing poem, I think, and then Bard, which just whipped out sweet poem. So that's awesome. So let's ask another creative question. One of my favorite movies is Lord of the Rings. Well, the whole book and the whole movie series. Love Lord of the Rings so much. It looks like Bard. Once again, I need to put it in there and try again. Let's see here. All right. So in Google Search, we got a link to the Encyclopedia Britannica about Lord of the Rings. We got a link to SparkNotes, study.com. So my question, just to be clear, is summarize the book, The Lord of the Rings, in 100 words. Traditional AI summary. Google search, like, that's not me. I don't do that. You know, I'm almost kind of surprised that Google search doesn't go, hey, why don't you jump over to Bard? Let's see what Bard did. So Bard is like, sure, as always. Bard, you know, it's just like, sure, let's do it. Here's a summary of the book, The Lord of the Rings, in 100 words. And it breaks it out with sources linked to the paragraphs. So brilliant. I'm not going to read it, but I definitely think it looks, just quickly glancing at it, like it is, you know, I mean, it's hard to summarize The Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's like massive, but it looks like it did, you know, kind of like that super high level, you know, super duper high level view. Someone that just read, like, you know, the cover of the book, or, you know, but anyway, it looks accurate. Search Generative Experience provided an even shorter high level. It's more about the books, and then so it didn't really give me a summary like Bard did. And then it's got links, kind of like, you know, traditional Google search, to the exact same Encyclopedia Britannica, SparkNotes study. So it looks like summarization for for Search Generative Experience, you know, it's kind of weak, to be honest. But Bard normally is very verbose, and I'm surprised at how short it is. Let's ask challenging questions. Okay, so my challenging question is, what is the difference between a chatbot and a virtual assistant? I think this is an excellent question. I had someone ask me this recently. All right, so let's go to Google Search. So Google Search responds with chatbots have conversational user interface, which enables chat-like communication, while virtual assistants can have a chat-based interface and can function using voice commands without an interface. So basically, you know, it's, you know, so just virtual assistants may or may not have a conversational user interface. Kind of like, you know, when you're using Google Assistant on like a Google Home, it can just pop up. You can do voice input, which is what I do with it mostly, or even on your smartphone, you bring up the Google app using voice input. You know, it doesn't have to have like a texting interface, but it's still, you know, you could still have a conversation back and forth. So that's interesting. So that's the Happy Fox summary. And then it provides, people also ask, and then links to a variety of looks like sites and posts about this question. I don't know if that's a very good answer, to be honest with you. Let's see. All right, so it looks like Bard kicked it out. Let's try putting it back in Bard and seeing what Bard says. What's the difference between a chatbot and a virtual assistant? Bard, don't let me down. All right, so sure. Well, nope, it kicked me out again. All right, we're gonna put it in there, and I'm gonna click the submit, and I see it spinning. I see the magic chatbot All right, here we go. Yes, Bard. Awesome. All right, so chatbots and virtual assistants are both computer programs that can simulate conversation with humans. However, there are some key differences between the two. So chatbots are typically designed to answer specific questions or perform on a limited set of tasks. For example, a chatbot might be used to answer a customer service question or provide information about a product. Virtual assistants, on the other hand, are typically designed to be more comprehensive and can handle a wider range of tasks. For example, a virtual assistant might be used to book appointments, set reminders, and even control smart home devices. Chatbots are typically rule-based, meaning that they follow a set of pre-programmed rules to determine how they respond to user input. Virtual assistants, on the other hand, are typically powered by artificial intelligence, which allows them to learn and adapt to user behavior over time. This means that virtual assistants can become more sophisticated and helpful as they are used more often. And then chatbots are typically text-based, while virtual assistants can be text-based or voice-based. This means that chatbots can only be used to interact with users who are comfortable typing, while virtual assistants can be used by users who prefer to speak. So and that's a very interesting. So in general, chatbots are a good choice for tasks that are relatively simple and straightforward. Virtual assistants, on the other hand, are a good choice for tasks that are more complex or require a higher level of intelligence. Ooh. So interesting. And as AI is powering these, and as chatbots and virtual assistants gain more intelligence, I wonder if the lines will blur more. Because it's interesting how people, the different modes that they use to interact with technology. It was all typing, and then it was swiping, and then it was images, and then it was voice input. It's pictures, and it's just like so many different options. And it feels like so much technology, we've had to bend to the way the technology works, that it feels like AI is going to help the technology bend more to the way the human works. So that's pretty exciting. Let's go to Search Generative Experience. So let's see what it says. So a chatbot is a computer program that simulates human conversation through voice commands or text chats. Virtual assistant is a program that can answer specific questions, perform specific tasks, and even make recommendations. Chatbots are generally used as information acquisition interfaces, such as extracting product details. Virtual assistants can assist in conducting business, like reminding you of meetings, managing your to-do list, taking down notes, and so on. Chatbots have a conversational user interface, which enables chat-like communication, while virtual assistants can have a chat-based interface and can also function using voice commands without an interface. So yeah, that's really cool. It just feels like the lines are going to blur. But then Search Generative Experience provides links to differences. It's got some Q&A. It's even got Happy Fox is back again. Interesting. That looks like a blog I might check out. It's brought it up a couple times. All right, so let's ask another challenging question. This is a question I would never ask Bing, because Bing gets upset when I ask this question. Let's see here. How does a chatbot learn? Okay, so let's start with Google Search. So it's got a sponsored link, and then it has its response based on metrics post. Chatbots can learn automatically by analyzing past data and making assumptions on what is right. The other way chatbots learn is by having a human editing the system. In most cases, both are required, even though a chatbot has artificial intelligence, a human still needs to audit the responses to make adjustments. Okay. So then it provides people also ask, and then some links to technology sites like IBM, other sites that talk about chatbots. Very cool. Let's see what Bard says. So Bard says chatbots can learn in a number of ways, but the most common methods are machine learning, rule-based learning, hybrid learning. It dives a little bit more detail. So it really looks like the way a chatbot learns depends on the type of chatbot and the specific task that is designed to perform. However, all chatbots learn by interacting with users. As a chatbot interacts with users, it collects data about the types of queries that users ask and the types of responses that users are satisfied with. The data is then used to improve the chatbot's ability to respond to future queries. Chatbots can learn from data Chatbots that learn from data are able to improve their performance over time as they interact with more users and collect more data. They become better at understanding the nuances of human language and responding in a way that is both informative and helpful. And then they provide some additional benefits: improved performance, increased flexibility, reduced development costs. However, there are some challenges associated with chatbot learning: data requirements, bias, security. Once again, it's in line with the typical risks. Overall, chatbot learning is a powerful tool that can be used to improve the performance of chatbots. However, it's important to be aware of the challenges associated with chatbot learning before implementing it. Okay, let's see what Search Generative Experience says. So Search Generative Experience responded with chatbots learn by analyzing past data, making assumptions on what is right. They also learn by having a human edit the system. In most cases, both are required. Chatbots are trained using machine learning algorithms and natural language processing. They recognize repetitive patterns during conversations with humans, combined with predetermined chat scripts and a database of answers used for responses. The more the program operates, the more the chatbot learns from the database. Chatbots can understand open-ended queries and improve their responses over time. And then we get links to the exact same search, to Google Search links below it. So once again, it feels like, Google Search Generative Experience is a hybrid of both Bard and traditional search. What I'm feeling from these different tools is, Google has been like the center of my universe for so long. Bard, since it's launched, has become something I use more and more often day by day. And I started off using OpenAI, ChatGPT, and playing around with GPT-4 and using the API and all that stuff, and that was super fun. But Bard feels like so good in so many ways. The experience, I wish there was an app for it, but even the web experience, you just keep it up in a browser and ask it stuff, and it's great. Google Search Generative Experience. Now, I like it. It's different. It's a mashup, I feel like, of AI inside of search. Which is what it said. But I don't know. I want to compare Search Generative Experience to Bing because I feel a lot like it's similar to Bing. Now, I like Search Generative Experience significantly more than Bing, particularly because it just knows how to handle space when you're doing it, whether you're on a mobile phone or a tablet or or a big screen desktop computer or something. But anyway, if I were to pick today, if I only had one, I'd pick Bard because I just really enjoy Bard. I love how in Bard I can always click Google it at the end, so I can always get to Google. Search Generative Experience, it's new. I know they're working on it. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I know they'll improve it. I really hope Bard doesn't go away though, because I really, really like Bard. That's the thing I'm kind of worried about. You got the experiment tag on it. I know that Google is going to do Search Generative Experience and integrate that into Google Search, but please don't take away Bard. I really like Bard. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon.